Well, welcome to SDG Live. We're right here in Davos at the World Economic Forum. I'm Richard Louie with MSNBC, and I'm very glad to be here along with the UN Foundation, who's putting on SDG Live. And as we coexist with the World Economic Forum, we're here to hit some very important issues relevant to the SDGs, also relevant to the very topics that are happening here at the World Economic Forum. Today, we are going to be talking about the driving women's economic empowerment. We have two individuals here who have a lot to say about economic empowerment when it comes to women. First off, next to me is Katja Iversen, CEO of Women Deliver. And next to Katja is Khalid, AlKhudair, Chief Executive Officer and founder of Glowork. Good to be here, right?
It's great.
Right here on Promenade, the main drag, and we get to talk about these issues.
This
and
is
you know,
where things happen.
5 feet behind this stage is a lot of people walking by.
Yeah, a lot of powerful people.
Including the two of you. So let's start directly with what we're talking about here, driving women's economic empowerment. Katja, you know a little bit about that.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Yes. Women are, of course, 51% of the world's population and a driving force in the economy that has been often overlooked. So one of the big discussions here at Davos, at the World Economic Forum this year, is gender equality and women's economic empowerment. Because we know, and all the powerful people are getting to know, that if women don't participate in the economy, if they don't kind of get in at the same level as men, we're going to wave goodbye to almost 26% of global GDP. That is $28 trillion. We know that if we had gender equality, equal opportunities at work, we could see world economy go boom. Linking that to the SDGs and the goal around gender equality, which is a standalone goal but also a cross-cutting.
That's right.
That's absolutely key. So those discussions are really front and center in Davos this year, and it's beautiful to see. It's been simmering the last couple of years. This time it's on main stage. 7 female co-chairs, lots of discussions. It's in the main room. The big thing will be what happens afterwards.
So you're excited this year. You've been here many a time.
I've been here 3 times and
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited that these discussions happen main stage, but they also happen in a lot of the small discussions, the powerful discussions, the one that sets the trend. The key thing will be that the Davos man, which is kind of the thing you say because, you know, let's face it, 80% of the participants here are men, that they take it down the mountain, into the governments, into the businesses, and into their families, because that's also where it starts.
Khalid, react to what we're talking about here, women's economic empowerment.
This is a topic dear to my heart.
Yeah.
In the last 7 years, we've been working on
Glowork.
Glowork's been working on employment of women in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Of course, Saudi Arabia in the last couple of decades has had this unfortunate perception that it has no women's rights at all. But in fact, I think in the next Davos, we'll be here presenting about benchmarks which Saudi Arabia has put when it comes to women economic and empowerment rights in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
How do you do it differently? What is it that you're doing at Glowork that is kind of like the magic sauce, right? How are you able to empower women economically?
So one of the most important things is getting together the private sector and the businesses and getting them to understand the benefits that they have when 50% of the, or more than 50% of the purchasing power comes from households and from women. They need to have women on their boards, in their top management, because they are the ones that are buying and purchasing their goods at the end of the day. And so when you have that influence inside at the corporate level, it makes a huge difference from an economic perspective. At the household level as well, one of the things that we've had in the last couple of years is an economic challenge. And so families have started looking towards their wives, their sisters, their moms, start working, getting into the labor market, benefiting from the education that they have, and getting into the private sector.
Yeah.
Very interesting that you point to women's work. We know only 50% of women work officially. You know, a lot of them are kind of in unpaid care work, but only 50% compared to 75% of men. So imagine if more women got work and got out to work, and we eliminated all the barriers that hold that back, whether it's lack of education or lack of access to education, health, the unpaid care work. If we could get more women to work, we could see a big boom, both for gender empowerment or women's empowerment, but also for society at large.
What's resonating on the streets here, if you will? What is resonating at the conference center related to empowering women economically? What are you hearing? What's the one-liner that you think works when you're speaking with the average conferee?
It's the economic argument that it's good both for business and for women and for society at large. You know, this is the economic forum. If you just came with it's a rights argument, and it is. Let's not forget that. You know, that women have equal rights.
Right.
But when we also can present the economic analysis that's been done with the World Bank and with KPMG and with McKinsey and many others, that's what resonates, and that's what's really been elevated. We say a little polemically, women deliver and much more than babies. And we can now prove that when you invest in girls and women, in their education, in their also economic empowerment.
The 26 billion trillion, is it trillion?
28 trillion, 26% of global GDP.
Right, that works.
Not pocket money.
That works.
That one works, but also to showcase what does it mean at business level.
Sure. Well, that's your headline, though.
Yeah.
What works? What's the one-liner you're using when you're talking to fellow conferees?
So one thing that I certainly believe in, might get me a bit of trouble.
That's okay. Nobody's going to be, I won't tell anybody.
I think it's really important nowadays that we be gender specific when it comes to employment. I think...
what do you mean?
So when we talk about having more women on board levels and having more women CEOs...
Are you saying quotas?
I'm saying we need to actually hire women and seek female professionals. Maybe at the first start, in the beginning. And then afterwards, companies start seeing the benefits of having women, and it just becomes a natural thing and the quotas become eliminated. I think there needs to be a start, and I think in order to increase the percentage, the beginning has to be quotas. And we've seen that in the kingdom, and in the last 6 years, from 48,000 women working in the private sector to over 680,000. Over 1,000% increase due to the specific...
What's the right quota? What's the right number to start with?
50%.
50%. Just
high.
We know
quotas work?
Studies from UN Women that quotas work. In politics, in business. And we see, and that's another kind of one of those, when you have more women on the board, when you have more women in senior management and middle level, all the way through, those companies prosper. So we see a lot of very interesting initiative, whether it's Salesforce going for equal pay, whether it's Unilever kind of unstereotyping women in the whole marketing, you know, show women a leadership role, you can be what you can see. You know, there's a lot of very interesting initiatives.
What's a number that you often, other than the ones we already talked about, that you watch to understand where economic empowerment for women is going? Not where it's at, but where it is going. What do you watch? What's a number or statistic that you look for?
Well, we look at you know, women's participation in the workforce. Another one we look at is women's uptake of contraception, because you can say if a woman can't control her body and her fertility, we can wave goodbye to economic empowerment, because getting an education will be difficult. Getting and keeping a job, because you'll be pregnant all the time. So, you know, the absolute bedrock of gender equality and economic empowerment for women is reproductive health services. So we watch that one because those correlate.
What's the number at now? Where's it at now in globally?
Well, that depends.
It probably widely up and down, right?
1 to 95.
5 to 95. What's the number you're watching,
I
Khalid?
look at the number of women graduating in the next couple of years.
College, high school?
Yes, college and high school. Why? Because that's where the bubble will start bursting if not enough women start getting into the private sector.
Yeah.
And not enough women start leading and becoming role models for the future generation.
And it's different in every country too, because if you look at the graduation rates in the United States, for instance, it is dominated by women. Yet, to the very same points the two of you have brought up, the amount of gender equality either at the top of the hierarchies in all the Fortune 500 companies, when you look at those who are in Congress, in the House and the Senate right now, we're still seeing 20%. Yet we're seeing over 50% graduation rates for women in high school and in graduate degrees. So is that the right thing? I don't know.
I want to say, just kind of to qualify that, because again, it's different in the world, and
yes.
Look at it from a big SDG perspective, sustainable development perspective. We have doing pretty well in primary school, getting girls in.
Yeah.
You know, that's almost parity. As soon as you get to secondary, and further,
Yeah.
it drops down dramatically. And that has different reasons. And that's also very key in the Sustainable Development Goals. You can't just look at one thing, because we know that why girls drop out.
Yeah.
They drop out because they have to take care of the family, they have to fetch water,
Chores.
They start menstruating,
Right.
they don't have access to toilet facilities.
That's right.
So it's really those where we have to look at the different angle. We can't just go for that one. It's easy to say, oh, we want the economic benefit from
That's right.
women working.
Right.
But there's more to that equation.
I'm totally with you on that. I mean, it's sort of throwing up the softball there, knowing that the two of you will just hit it out of the park, proverbially, since I'm talking about North American sports here. But yes, that gender equality is local, right? That's what you're saying. It is local. And economic empowerment for women is local. What the example I brought up, what you're saying is it's not true everywhere, Richard. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying there's different contexts.
Yes.
But there's also solutions where we can learn from each other.
That's right.
I think there's so many good things happening. Glowork, I can see that work many places.
Yes.
And so let's learn from each other. Let's not reinvent the wheel. And that's also what Davos is for.
And that's what I've found too, also looking at different programs on the ground in different countries and continents, is that you do have different programs that work in other places. So I'm not saying what you're saying won't work here or won't work there, but that sort of contextual secret sauce, that stew of what makes women empowered economically, pulls from the same basket of ingredients.
Yeah, and it pulls from working together.
Together, yes.
Government, business, NGOs, academics.
You don't ask for much, do you, Katja?
No,
not
but
at all.
we also know it's possible.
Yeah, that's not much.
And young people will be key. That's true.
Yeah. Khalid, what's one of those really great things that Glowork's doing? And be very specific and tell me about that person in 30 seconds that it did affect.
So one of the people, I started this whole business because of my sister. My sister graduated from North America. She came back and she had a difficult time finding a job. And she had various obstacles, from transportation issues to actually entering.
Do you mind mentioning her name? Or?
Aya. And so based on that, and I quit my consulting job and I started Glowork, trying to understand the mindset. Is it employers don't believe in women's opportunities? Or is it because there are obstacles? And we took those obstacles and challenges and we've made them into our.
Be more specific. What did you do?
So one was educate the employers. Number two, we started lobbying and advocating, and through statistics and facts and figures when it comes to how it benefits businesses. And number three is actually educate women themselves on opportunities outside of the household.
Advocating to whom? The businesses and to the kingdom as well?
Absolutely, yes. One of the good things that we've done and great things is working closely with the government. So today we are a private-public partnership on employability of women. We do researches on women's issues, and a lot of legislations and laws have come out of that.
Do you know that you're male?
Yes.
What are you doing here? Aya, what's he doing? What's happening here?
Well, kind of gender equality and women's economic empowerment is not a woman's problem. It's a societal thing. And, we need to work together. And men play a tremendous important role, not least young men who have another perspective on things. They've not been socialized into old ways. So, I compliment you for that. And Women Deliver has a young leaders program with now 700 young leaders in more than 100 countries, and they make change happen every single day in their communities.
But does this work now? Because with the Me Too movement, it sort of recast the discussion. And tell me whether you think it's created a new this column, that column, and therefore that sort of idea of working together as whatever gender you are for this human rights opportunity. Has it brought it together in a better way, the Me Too movement? Has it tell me, you know better than I. Yeah.
We live in such an interesting time, and we're on a pivotal time, with Me Too, Time's Up, She Decides, Women Deliver, but because...
I'm surprised you didn't lead with Women Deliver, to be honest,
I'm humble.
Yeah. You still have time. We've got, another 1 or 2 minutes here.
The working together, it's Me Too, but it's also I will and we do.
Yeah.
Because action has to follow this.
Yes.
And Me Too is so powerful, but that's both men and women. It's not a woman's issue, it's not a man's issue, it's a societal issue, and we need to work. We're not going to solve gender equality because it's created.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, by just kind of standing in a corner shouting women. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it really has to be very concrete.
Yeah.
Breaking down the barriers, structural, governmental, kind of legal, in business, and also on women themselves.
Yeah, I mean, one perspective.
So the gender norms.
Yeah, well, one perspective might be with the Me Too movement, Time's Up, Women Deliver. Sorry, I didn't lead with that. Is that it's put another bright light upon that which is. That which is. It's put another bright light on this opportunity. So we're seeing things in brighter ways.
Absolutely.
In more intense ways, right? So we're seeing it in Hollywood, right? We're now seeing it in places in my industry, in media, right? We're seeing it not only in Hollywood, but also in news. So what do you think Women Deliver, Me Too, and Time's Up means? What has it done to this idea of economic empowerment? Has it resonated well where you're at with Glowork?
Absolutely. I think what's really key today is this role modeling effect, and also learning from one another, and just listening out to stories. I mean, for us in the kingdom today, the economic challenges that we have has looked at, in my household, if my father is working and he wants to raise his family,
right.
He would love to have his wife now start working and his sister working, because he cannot survive on his own income. He needs a diversified income, and he wants to see more women into the labor market. So the programs, the campaigns on what NGOs and what the governments are pushing towards, I think it's really, really important, especially going forward. And if we don't learn from one another, we're not going to get anywhere.
What's the worst you've been called? First of all, quickly, Glowork, give me your gender balance, men and women working for Glowork.
95% women, 5% men.
Wow, okay. You practice what you preach. Number two, what's the worst thing you've been called personally because of what you've done with the business? Sorry, I'm pointing at you, but pointing is probably not the worst thing somebody's done.
A liberal B.
What's it? I'm sorry, what is it?
Liberal BASTARD.
Oh, wow, wow.
Yes. And it's hard. I've been called. I've had people come in and try and
what do you say to that?
Office. I'll tell
Did you say kill you in your office?
Yes, absolutely. My family doesn't know this, so they're probably hearing it now. Yes, because it's changing mindsets. You know, in the area that we work in, we're still not as developed as the West, let's say, when it comes to women's economic reforms and empowerment. And so when this change is happening, and it's happening really quickly, you have a lot of mindsets that you're battling. And so dealing with these mindsets and issues is a challenge for us. And that's one of the things.
Wow.
Actually, what happens is whenever I see someone that swears at me, it gives me more, it makes me just enjoy my time even more.
Quickly, we got to close up here, Katja, but when you hear his story, it energizes you, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, we'll see a lot of change coming from young men and young women who want that change because they don't see it the old ways. And I think there's so much hope in it across the globe. And it's also so good to see here in Davos that there's many more young people. There's much more diversity than we've seen. We're not there yet, but we're working.
Okay, I'm going to close with this. You have 15 seconds. I'm going to say something to you. You're just going to respond with one word. Okay? Local communities and economic empowerment for women. Local communities. One word.
Invest in women.
That's more than one word. One word.
Future.
What's the big bet? What's the big bet that you're looking at when it comes to economic empowerment for women?
Also one word?
Well, yeah, one word.
One word? Okay. Future again?
Just react, yeah.
Inclusion.
Me too.
Inclusion.
Me too. Inclusion again?
No.
React to me too, yeah.
Big change.
Time's up.
Now.
And Time's Up is actually for our discussion, and I thank you both. Really a fantastic, albeit quick conversation about economic empowerment for women here on SDG Live. Thank you so much, Khalid. Thank you so much, Katja. I look forward to seeing you on the streets as we walk with our snow boots out there on the streets, and you're out there talking about these very topics with our conferees. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for all of you that are with us, if you want to participate more, you can obviously follow these two amazing people on social media. You can also, of course, stay with us here on #SDG Live. and we'll have more topics throughout the day. So thanks for tuning in on this very important topic.